Hello, this is Melissa. I am here to talk to you about our Patreon page. This is a page that you can go to and give us a monthly donation as you listen to our podcast, and you can get bonus content such as getting episodes early, getting bonus episodes, and a bunch of other things. Eventually, we'd like to do some t-shirts and so much more. So if you're interested, no pressure, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. Again, that's patreon.com/messybunmamas podcast. In a fitting manner, there is a coffee membership, a cold brew membership, and an espresso membership. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on that page, and thank you so much for listening.
Messy Bun Mamas. I'm Joe. I'm John. I am Malcolm. Wow.
Hello. Thank you for coming to our 4th episode.
Number 4.
I don't know if you know this, but that means that it's been a whole month.
A whole month.
That you've been letting us into your ear canals.
Thank you.
Because that just got really awkward. So today we are gonna do a spouse episode, I guess.
Yeah.
And it is titled, What Did You Do All Day? So before we dive into that, which I just said, like, okay, so we're not going to dive into it, but I just want to start by saying Michelle is a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband works. I work, and my husband is a stay-at-home dad. So you can just have that muddle in your brain a little bit while we go through our mom moments of the week. I feel like this is going to paint me in such a horrible light.
I highly doubt that. But
all right. So, Michelle, what's your mom moment for the week?
My mom moment for the week is more of a mom/wife, probably maybe more of a wife moment of the week. And that's, I've been trying very hard to communicate more of how I'm feeling in a particular situation. Not that I want everyone to like cater to every one of my feelings or anything. And of course, we're recording some of these episodes back to back. So I want a disclaimer. It's not every week that I'm having a terrible week. But we're still on the same week here. So at the beginning of the week, it kind of started, I had kind of just an inkling that my anxiety was up. And so I went to my husband and I said, hey, I want you to consider maybe staying home today instead of going to work. I said, it's not a huge deal if you can't, but I need you today. I'm not saying I need you to take care of our son. I don't need you to clean the house. I mean, both would be super, but I need your physical presence for me today. And he said, well, man fashion, let me think about it. And so
I don't know if you can hear my eyes rolling.
So I had pretty much just assumed that it was going to be a big fat no. He was going to go into work.
Yeah.
And as it got closer and closer, I'm like, hey, dude, are you going to like make a lunch or something? Are you planning to eat out, or what's going on when you get to work? And he says, no. He says, you said that you needed me today, so I was just going to stay home with you.
Thanks for letting me know.
Right. Back to last week's conversation of communicating effectively. So it made me feel really good because then the rest of the day he intentionally would stop and like make sure that say, hey, do you want to help me with this, or do you need help with that? It was just he went all in with making sure that he
Good
was there for me. And
job.
I thought, I'm really getting good at expressing myself. And so
Such a pat on the back for you.
such a pat on the back. So
Thanks for making me feel so good about myself,
right.
Dan.
So it was just really nice that we were able to have that moment, and then it made just the day nice with Joe as well. I mean, because he was intentionally pouring himself into me, I was then able to pour myself into Joe as needed. And
Yeah.
so it was a good, I went to bed that night with such a good feeling in my heart that I was able to effectively communicate how I was feeling without being overboard about it and not really having the expectation that my wish would be fulfilled. And then I just that he was able to see that need and he poured himself into me, and he filled my cup with just being there for me.
That's so great.
It was really awesome.
And that's probably why we're talking about what did you do all day. So my mama moment for the week is, okay, so I have an 18-month-old and her hair is getting to the point where like it has to be brushed every day.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody has girls, it's a giant pain in the butt.
Oh, I remember my mom brushing my hair.
So, I mean, her hair is like to her shoulders. Like it's nothing major yet. But every day I do this thing where like I sit down her little plastic chair in front of me and I sit on the couch. She brings me over the brush, she stomps it over to me and she like plops her little butt in the chair and then like I brush her hair. And this has become like such a routine that if her hair's in her face, she'll like grab the chair and bring it over and like plop it in between my legs. And I'm just like, ah. And it's just nice because in the chaos of life, it's always easy for her to get like left behind because she doesn't talk, you know.
Right.
She still naps, the boys don't. Like she's pretty independent because I mean, Malcolm we're trying to potty train and John is just a hot mess most of the time. So Rayla's just kind of always there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like the moment of the day that we get to take a breather and just have it be me and her, even if it's only 2 minutes.
Right.
It's like I get to brush her hair. I get to like give her snuggles. I get to tell her how cute she is, and how pretty she is, and how smart she is. It's like so amazing. Like when I stop working remotely, I think I'm going to miss it. Because like I'm not going to wake her up at 4 a.m. to do her hair. That's just silly. But
we'll make it a plug that you get to work remotely forever. Then
forever. It's my mama moment. It's my mama moment with my little girl to just, and it's not like I do anything intricate with her hair. Like I'm not at that point yet. I don't even know how to French braid. You know who you are. We should get on that, you know, so you can teach me.
Right.
We'll see if you listen to my podcast. But yeah, it's that was my mama moment. It's one of the things that I just love. And it's such a simple, monotonous task.
Yes.
But it's just like, I mean,
like you said, it's that time where you get to be just individually with her, and there's the hugs and the snuggles, and you get to tell her, you get to invest in her.
Yeah, even if it's for a minute, 2 minutes, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's just my time with my girl. And
yeah,
that's my mama moment this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to move into the
meat of our
the topic of the day.
So what did you do all day?
So this is more valuing your teammate.
Yes. The other half.
Mhm.
And I think that we will both have unique perspectives on this, as differing unique perspectives on this. And that's because I am a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
and I am like in the thick of raising our son every day. And I'm going to say I don't dislike that.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Right?
She enjoys
I
it.
never want to say because I choose to be at home. I could get a job, send him to daycare, and I am choosing to homeschool, and I'm choosing to do all this stuff because I feel that it's valuable and it's important. But in order to do that, even though I do have like some little side hustles here that I'm working on, my husband has to work like
More.
right.
Yeah.
I was looking for an effective word that would
He has to work
express
more.
yes.
More extra, whatever.
So he works anywhere between 6 to 7 days. Before it was just a solid 7 days. After the pandemic, because when the pandemic hit, hours slowed down for him, and we realized what a benefit it was to have him home.
Yeah.
And I think even he realized. And so now it's more of a 6-day a week thing,
Yeah.
but it's still 12-hour shifts, and so we don't see him a lot.
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, and this has been very hard for me to see and to admit, that I am oftentimes super hard on him because I'm looking at him and saying, "What have you done all day?" I've done this, and this, where he can walk in and say, "Hey, what have you done all day?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Let me get out my list." Where
Is your child breathing?
right. Yes. And he's not crying at the moment, so we're all good. Because I put milk in his Fruit Loops instead of making it separate. But we have had that, and I had to explain to his dad, because he's like, "Can't you just?" That's another conversation for another day. But I have had to work very hard at recognizing that my husband does contribute to our family more than just from a financial aspect.
Mhm.
And so, not that I have to look hard, I have to look intentionally at what he's doing to contribute to our family. So that's kind of where my perspective and where I'm coming from on this. And I know we'll probably have more conversations.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you for your perspective on this.
Okay, so obviously, like, my household is untraditional. We have an 18-year-old who splits time. She's here anywhere from 50 to 75% of the time, so we do get a good chunk of Belinda. But and then I work full time, and I have like side stuff. So he is the stay-at-home parent, and I struggle a lot with I've never said like, what did you do all day? Because I know like the negative connotation that comes with that statement. Like, I know, like, I'm a woman. I've heard all the mothers say, like, he just walks in the house. He's like, what did you do all day? So instead of saying, what did you do all day? I'll phrase it in a different way, but like that's basically what
it's
I'm
still
saying.
there,
Yeah,
right? The meaning is there.
And he very much he gets frustrated because we have 4 kids. Okay. Like Belinda is pretty low maintenance. She doesn't require a lot of parenting or whatever. But like we have a 7-year-old, a 3.5-year-old, and an 18-month-old.
That's a lot of work.
2 of them are in diapers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John has school, so there's, you know, that little bit of a reprieve during the day, but I mean, it's a lot to be like engulfed. And, you know, Rayla has pretty much had a cough and breathing issues her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't really sleep the best. Like, just because she's up coughing or whatever, and so he doesn't sleep the best,
Right?
Because I work, so I'm not waking up with no crying baby.
I'm feeling Mike right now. This sounds like Joe.
So it's just, I have a really hard time because I'm just like, all you did was take care of the kids. That's all you do, is take care of the kids. All you do is make sure they're fed. All you do is make sure they're bathed. That's all you do. And like, literally, we have this conversation like multiple times a week, and I've been trying so hard to get better of just, I mean, he's really honest. He's like, I can't handle much more than keeping them alive and fed and clean.
Right.
And I mean, I think it's fair. I appreciate the fact that he's honest about the fact that it's a lot, because it is a lot. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be a stay-at-home parent.
I have one, and it's overwhelming to me sometimes.
Yeah. So. And it's just because, like, they're on you all day. You
literally
on you. You never get a break.
Right.
Ever. Like, it's not even like when I come home. Because when I come home, I mean, I'm working remote right now. But even when I clock out of work and I walk out of the room into the house, it's like, I don't want to, like, you don't get a break. Like, I just worked all day.
Exactly. Right.
So, I mean, you're still on. I'm sorry.
You don't get a vacation.
Yeah. And it's rough, because I know we've talked about it before, about giving your significant other like a break. Mm-hmm. But I struggle so much with, and like I said, I don't use the words. So for some reason, I think in my head, like, well, it's not as bad. I'm politely like poking at him. Why? I mean, did you not notice that there's a load of laundry in the dryer
that could have been folded, put away?
I mean, that's basically asking, what did you do all day? But it's in a different. It's formed differently, so I don't feel as bad. But
I feel like Mike and I have a lot to talk about right now.
And the thing is like, I know it's like a joke I say all the time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad husband, because it's just like, I have that horrible mindset of like, what did you do all day? Like, what contribution are like, I work full plus time, like 60 to 70 hours a week. And then I also do stuff on the side, because I'm a workaholic. And
I think we're the same in that. Like, we just create things to do.
That's what he told you. Just create things to make yourself busy. Yes, I do. I don't know why I do that. So, but I really struggle in like, okay, but all you're doing is feeding them.
Right.
That's all you're doing. Like, how hard is it? I like, literally, these words have come out of my mouth. How hard is it to put chicken nuggets in the oven? Like, how hard is it to make macaroni and cheese?
I'm going to answer this for you. There's a whole lot of cleanup after that.
I know. And the thing is like, I do zero grocery shopping. I don't do any of the errands. I don't do any of the like appointments, bill paying. Like, he does all of that. When we made the transition of he was going to stay home and I was going to work, like, we've slowly over time, like, that's just his, like, a bill comes in and it wasn't ran through our insurance, he's got to call the insurance company and figure it out. Like, he figures out the budgets. He figures out, you know, this was the first year that I didn't go Christmas shopping for the kids. He did it all.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it's very much, it's awkward. Like it's a very much, it's not just feeding the kids. It's
Right.
not just giving them chicken nuggets. Because I mean, we spent so long of our marriage of me handling the money, me handling the bills, me handling the calls and whatever. And we only had either just Belinda or just Belinda and John during that. So I couldn't imagine how extra it is now that we've added on all these kids. And
Right.
I keep picking up all these tasks to busy my free time with. And it's definitely hard on him for sure. So easy. Like, I don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand. Even though I know it's hard, which is why I don't want to do it. Like,
Right.
being a stay-at-home parent is like the worst. Like, I mean, it's great. Like, you get to watch your kids grow up. You get to be there for all their firsts, whatever. But you also have to be there.
It's mentally draining.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, oh man, it's physically exhausting. But that's not what gets me. The physical's not the problem.
Yeah.
It's the mental draining. Like, I am trying to raise a little me, and I
Yeah.
find me exhausting. Having two of me in the house is super exhausting.
Right. Well, and then just like, I get upset sometimes because he doesn't take the kids like to the zoo. Why can't you just take the kids to the zoo today? He's like, do you know how much work it is to take 3 kids to the zoo? I'm like, other parents do it. Why can't you do it? Like, he's like, I have to pack a lunch. I have to get them all in the car. I have to make sure that I change the clothes for everybody, change the shoes, change the socks. I have to make sure that we have, you know, snacks and activities on the ride there. Then, you know, obviously we can't be gone all day because we have this at this time and this at this time. So I also have to make sure I have the right stroller. And is it cold or is it warm or is it in the middle?
Do we need to have layers?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's just like, it turns into this whole, and it sounds like a lot of work. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, but you could take the kids to the zoo.
Right.
Like, you could take the kids to the zoo.
Yeah. My husband will say to me, why don't you organize play dates?
Okay. That sounds horrible.
Well, first of all, if we're doing it at my house,
That sounds like a lot of work.
we're gonna have to clean the house.
Yeah.
and even though most of the people that I immediately surround myself with are like, whatever.
Right.
There's still like that. I don't know. What if one of them takes a picture and posts that on social media? Oh my gosh. So like there's that stress of of inviting people over, but he's like, you could have friends, you just got to invite people over. And I'm like, you know, because that's the wintertime thing. We can't get out.
Yeah.
So have people over. And like,
it's so much more work. That's a lot of work.
I will have to hide all the laundry baskets. I'm going to have to vacuum. If we have friends with babies over, I got to make sure all the little Legos and all the little arts and crafts things that...
And everybody has babies right now.
Right. And that all of that is picked up just in case a crawler finds something that I would not normally sweep under. I mean, it's a lot. I don't disagree with Mike that it's a lot of, I mean, I have one, and getting him from in the house out to the car like makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Like
it's exhausting.
You're 4, dude. Just put your boots on. It doesn't have to be tennis shoes. Put your rain boots on. Go ahead. Have at it. I don't
something that covers your toes, please.
I don't care that it's 95 degrees out.
It's so true.
And sunny. Put on your boots. Something, just show me that you want to get to the zoo. Show me that you want to do something. And so I understand that exhaustion, and kudos to all the moms that like have that all together. I don't know.
Right.
I don't even mean that facetiously. I've actually talked to my husband about that. I'm like, I don't get all these moms that just get up in the morning and they're like, okay, I've got all of this ready. We're going to go. I mean, is it really just a facade?
Yeah.
That, I mean, because I've heard people like be like, "Oh, you're such a great mom. You do all this stuff with Joe." Because I'll post it on social media,
Yeah.
the stuff that I'm doing, and they're like, "And you do this and you do that," and I'm like, "Ah, I'm really not a great mom. We are not doing that
There are
24/7."
great pictures. though.
Yeah, I mean, those are snapshots, and so I
Snapshots of greatness.
right, like 2 minutes.
Mixed in with mayhem.
Right. And so I've asked my husband, I'm like, are these moms that show up to the zoo at 9 a.m. and have everything packed and ready and their kid doesn't look like a hot mess that just crawled out of bed? Are is it just a facade? Is there like a whole nother thing that I'm not seeing behind? So I would really love to talk to some moms that just have it all together and can do that.
There's one mom that we know that I swear she's a rock star mom. She was just meant to be a mom, I swear. Brittany.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. Every time she's just like, and her kids are so well behaved.
Yes.
And they always like they're doing things, they're going places, like, and she's really into like essential oils and stuff too.
Mhm.
So like, I mean, the other day Leah Bella was like, well, I gotta, put my oil on before I go to sleep because it calms me down. I'm just like, man. And she's just so calm and she's like so motherly to like other people's kids too. And I'm just like, man.
Like when I'm getting ready to,
please.
Right. When I'm getting ready to yell at my kid, she like will step in and she'll be like, oh, Joe, you're so amazing. I'm like, no, wait a minute.
He's not amazing.
He's not amazing. Time out here. And she's a very just positive, encouraging mom. And she understands all that energy and just very accepting of it, where I'm like, dude, I need 5 minutes from you right now.
Mm-hmm. It's so true though. And she is, man. When I watch her, I'm just like, you are like mom goals right now. So yeah, I mean, getting up, just so everybody knows, we brought Arayla in because there was a meltdown in the living room over blanket forts and babies ruining them. And, so
we intervened. Well, Melissa intervened. I just smiled and said, "Oh, thank God it's not my mess today." Someday she'll be at my house and I'll be like, "Oh my God."
So yeah, I mean, I definitely commend the moms who like have it all together. And I do try to like, I mean, there have been times that like I get really stressed when we have to go places. And I've had other moms, like I've asked them, like, how do you get all of your little humans out of the house dressed and clean?
Right.
Like, how do you do that? Because without looking like a hot mess.
Right.
Because I can't tell you how many times it's like they all look nice and then I'm wearing like a hoodie.
Right.
Because I don't have time to do my hair. I don't have time to do anything. And I leave such a stressed out bundle of anxiety that it's like I don't enjoy wherever we're going.
Right.
Because I'm just done.
And you need like 30 minutes once you get there to like decompress.
Right.
So no, I totally get that. And that's the way it is for me. I would say that I have on the opposite side of that, I have a hard time recognizing that with, as I was saying previously, all the hours that Dan puts in and he still then invests in our family.
Yeah.
Like, I have to intentionally, she has some words to say.
She's got an opinion.
I have to intentionally stop and think to myself, Dan just took 30 minutes out of his day before he went to work. I have to say, he just took 30 minutes before he's going to work to sit down on the floor and play with his son.
Yeah.
And
that's his me time. Like that's what he's giving is his me time.
Yes. Yeah. And so and that I have to step back and say that is important, because I do say, what did you do all day? You went to work for 12 hours.
That's all you did.
That's all you did. and I've even said to him, you do nothing but sit, because he works a line job. And so he's just I shouldn't say just assembling, he's assembling things. And so it's very easy in my mind to be just like, you sat all day long. And here I am
Mike
at home.
Says that to me. You sat in a chair for 12 hours. How hard is that?
And so it's very hard for me to step back and think, maybe he did just sit for 12 hours, but he also had to interact with people, and he had to be diplomatic with people, and he had, there's this stressful thing going on at work, and this stress, because there are times when there's situations going on that it can be stressful to him, and he tries not to bring that home to me,
because obviously you have an opinion.
Right. Well, not just an opinion, but then I'm an absorber. Like, when I hear somebody else's stress, I take that stress on. And so I have had to step back and intentionally realize that there is more to what he does in a day than just go sit at a table and assemble stuff. So there's just like just the reason why I mentioned that is just because there's additional stresses than when he goes to work sometimes with that type of stuff, where things are going on. And of course, every industry changes.
Yeah.
And
especially right now with the pandemic, where it's just like, you literally have no idea what's going on day
things
to day.
Change every day. And so
we have a pandemic. We changed a president. It's just like, I don't know how much more change y'all can handle, but I'm pretty much capped.
And so I don't know. I just keep saying the same thing, I guess, is that I've just had to step back and intentionally notice the things that he's doing. And I have to make myself be grateful for the times when
choked that out.
I did. Grateful. I'm like, am I thankful or grateful? I have to be grateful, because I know not every family has that type of investment that he has.
Yeah.
And I also know that not he works as hard as he does for our family, and not everybody has that's a lot of his investment. And even though I belittle that in my head, I have to say that is a huge contribution. It's not just a financial contribution. He's providing for our family so that I can be there to invest in Joe. So.
Exactly, because he's making, like, the way that I look at it is he is making the time sacrifice for Joe's childhood in order for you to reap that benefit.
Yes.
I know that Mike struggles as well with, like, being grateful for, like, the contributions that I have, because I can't tell you how many times he's like, you sit on your butt all day. It's like, that's true.
It's very easy to think that.
It's very, and it's true. I mean, I sit around, I drink coffee, and I mean, on a very surface level, that's what I do. But I mean, I work in construction. Like, my job is high stress.
Yes.
It's high pressure.
Meeting deadlines,
meeting delivery dates, dealing with construction job sites where everybody's just like not the most friendly person in the whole world. I mean, I get cussed out daily. It's and I love my job. But I do spend a lot of time in a chair, especially now with the pandemic, where it's like, you can't really go anywhere, you can't really do anything.
Yeah, you're not walking from your desk to the water cooler to have a break.
Exactly. So it's very easy for that to be his knee-jerk reaction. And it's such a weird dynamic with us, because we struggle with the social norms of, I mean, the social norm is that the woman does the housework.
Right.
That's just, I mean, we can all sit around and pretend whatever, but that's literally the thought.
Right.
And I don't know that he intentionally doesn't help to the level that I want him to, but like, I don't like doing housework to begin with.
Ditto.
Add on 3 kids and a career. Now I'm real done with it.
Right.
And I'm just like,
No.
yeah. No,
Yeah. No.
Nope. And I just. Exactly. Absolutely. I just. It's so hard.
I feel you because I'm right in there on that mix as well. I am the stay-at-home mom, but by the time I get done momming, I look at all that stuff and I'm like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
I do not want to do that sink full of dishes. I get it that we have a dishwasher, but I have to unload it and put it away to put the new stuff in.
Pre-wash dishes before they go in the dishwasher. Yes. I don't know why people are just like, we have a dishwasher. It's so easy. It's like, it's not though.
Right.
Like it doesn't really make it any easier.
It's not that simple.
No. Because of course I don't rinse off the dishes when I put them in the sink and they're dirty. Like,
right.
You know, a fully functioning adult grown-up would. Oh, it's so true.
I feel like somebody would be like, I can help both of you with your lives right now.
Rinse the dishes when you put them in the sink. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Never thought of it. Usually I have the best intentions of doing that, and it's like a day or two. And then I'm just like, okay, this is stupid.
Right. I don't have time to take that extra 2 seconds right now.
2 seconds, that's all it takes. Oh, that's all it takes. So true.
I get it.
But yeah, being it's just so funny because we're both on like different ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
But lately I feel when I said this is okay, so when she told me that she wanted to talk about this, I was like, ugh. Because I swear Mike and I have had this conversation / argument. Most of the time it's away from the kids though. Yay! We've had it like 3 times a week for like just months.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just between balancing like my work, his work, pandemic, sick, just like everybody's home at the same time, just mixed with like the weirdness of our family dynamic of like we have a kid who splits time. I work, he doesn't. I work at a job, he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like just all that stuff mixed in on top of the societal norms of just, you know, going against the current of literally everything in our life. It's stressful. And I know that my mom was a stay-at-home mom for a good chunk of my childhood. She ran a daycare from the house. And my dad worked like obscenely long hours. And there are just times, to be honest, that, I mean, my dad regrets our childhood. Because he worked so much.
Same with my dad.
And he missed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are times that I have to learn to be grateful for Mike. That, like, I might think that he's doing nothing. But these kids are his whole world.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They're his whole world. Like, he would walk through fire for them. And being grateful just for that, whether or not there's clean dishes in the sink.
Right.
It's like you just have to, like, how many people of our generation have parents who regret the time lost with their kids? I think everybody I know. Everybody. And it's like, you know, again, how many people do you know who have like super spotless houses?
Right.
Very few.
Right.
But I feel like we're better with our kids now than we were. And I think that learning to be grateful of what our spouse contributes, whether it's actually like doing the dishes or money or whatever, I think it has to change when you have kids.
It's all about our expectations,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And that's one of my big words is one. I've got like 5.
These are the 5 words I live my life by.
And expectations, balance, those are some of my big words that you'll hear over and over again. And it's expectations. It leads to a lot of like the arguments and things like that, because our expectations are way up here.
Yep.
And we're like, we need to come down to a more balanced level and say, well,
you have 3 kids all day long.
Right.
So I just need to accept the fact that you're not going to do the dishes.
Right.
But you know what? The kids, if I ask the kids if they had a good day, and I'm sure Dan's the same way with Joe. If he goes, did you have fun today with mommy? I'm sure Joe's like, yeah, I did.
Right. We did this. We did this. We did this.
And I'm sure Joe treasures that 30 minutes that Dan spends with him, on the floor playing with him, where he could do a load of dishes. And in the grand scheme of things, which is more important?
The time he spent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about that, the cats in the cradle thing, right?
Yes.
It's and I have actually said that to Dan. I would prefer you take time with Joe instead of years down the road regret not having had that time with Joe. Yep. Now is our time to invest in him everything that we can. And what he's not going to remember when he's 18 was our house spick and span. Could we eat off of our floor? The answer is no.
Yeah.
You should not eat off of our floor.
I mean, really, should you eat off any floor, though?
3 dogs, a cat, a toddler, husband, me. You should not eat off our floor. He's not going to remember that, but he is going to remember that his dad took time with him before he went to work. So that is the one thing that I do have in the back of my mind and in my brain, just playing over and over again, is my dad was like Dan. He worked 6 days a week. Yep. And he worked long 12-hour shifts. Yep, and I don't remember a lot, but the times that he stopped to play with us, those are so deep in my brain. Like when I'm, because my dad and I are both very strongly opinionated people, so we don't always have good interactions because we're both right, but I still love my dad over everything else. Yeah. Because I know that even on the days that he was so super tired, he would come home and he would cuddle with one of us kids, watch movies with us, get outside and play with us when he could. And so that's the one thing that I have really tried to get across to Dan is this house is always going to be a mess. Okay, let's just be real.
Let's just put it out there.
It's gonna look like a hot mess. And so, like you said, I would rather have him spend that 30 minutes with Joe versus doing the dishes because it's driving him nuts.
Yeah.
And so then if he's gonna do that, then I think it's fair for me to stop and say that I'm thankful or grateful that he took that 30 minutes with Joe, because then that gave me 30 minutes to
breathe. Oh, well, and it's true, because it's like, what did you do all day? Okay, what did you do all day? And when people say that, it's always the implication is always like, you didn't do enough with your day.
Right.
But I mean, I would rather 100% of the time, if I asked what the kids did today, like, or if I asked Mike, like, what did you do today? Like, which I would never, because it's a horrible thing to ask. You just have to veil it under different words.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why we associate like parenting with just like chores, because it's just, and I know like back in the day it just seems like something that everybody did, and I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest. Like, I mean, I don't have any idea. I don't know. I can't really recollect. Like, I think my house was cleaner than my growing up than my house is now. But like, my mom did an at-home daycare, so I feel like there were certain stipulations that had to be done.
Right.
But I mean, and then I remember when I was a teenager, like, she paid a friend of hers, you know, every other Friday she would come and like do the basic cleaning stuff or whatever. And I mean, my mom tells me all the time, she's like, you should just hire a maid. I'm like, I just don't want to deal with that.
No,
That
because
sounds
then I'd have
horrible
to
to
have
me.
like stuff
Then I
picked
have to
up.
pre-clean
Yeah.
to have them come clean.
I'm right there with you.
It just doesn't sound, and it just sounds ridiculous. Like, but yeah, I think I really, really look at my dad, and he says all the time that he regrets. If he could go back, he would be tighter on money and spend more time with us.
Mhm.
Because he worked second shift and third shift almost our entire childhood. So his off time was during the day and we were in school. So when I say that we didn't see him Monday through Friday, we didn't see him Monday through Friday. And most often he worked on Saturdays. He worked first shift usually on Saturdays, which was most of our day. And then Sundays, I mean, it was family day, but it was like, it was family day and we had things going on all day.
Yeah, church.
Yeah, we had, it was all day.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like he was there as much as he could be. And I'm sure it was said between my parents, like, what did you do all day? Both ways.
Right.
And, you know, what contribution did you make to the house today? And I just, it's, you made a really good point about just managing your expectations. Because really, what do you want? What do you want the kids? I mean, I don't want to raise useless boys who don't know how to wash their own dishes. And I really am, like, with the kids, like, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like, I make the boys like empty the dishwasher. And I make the boys
teaching them
when
responsibilities.
there's not 10 inches of snow on the ground, bring up the garbage bins, and they clean the mirror in the bathroom, which is their favorite because they get to stand on the counter. But, you know, just stuff like that. But I mean, I just would prefer that Mike and I spend our free time with the kids than anything in the house.
Making sure something looks perfect.
Exactly. Because I don't care. I just don't care. And I know that there are environments that, like, there have definitely been times where I'm just like, ugh. I'm sure if like someone important, like I would say overall, our house is very cluttered. Like, there's a lot of clutter. Like, it's just everywhere. There's just so many people living in this house, and everybody's like, you need a bigger house. I'm just like, there's just more room for clutter if I get a bigger house. Like,
right.
I don't know why that sounds like a thing.
Right.
That's going to help anything.
Bigger is not better.
No. And it's just, I would like at the end of the day to say, like, if somebody ever asked me, or if I asked my husband, like, what did you do all day? I think I was hanging out with the kids is probably the best answer I could hear.
Right.
And I just have to change my thinking.
Right.
To reflect that.
Because even though you think, and I get this, because like my husband would say, I went to work.
Yeah.
I played a game with Joe. And I'm like, you did nothing. But in the back of my head, I know that was a significant contribution to our family for the day.
Yeah.
And so it's right. I think we're just going to keep boiling back to, you have to change your thinking. You have to be intentional and say, this is what my expectation really is. I mean, all this other stuff would be super great and awesome, but
do the dishes.
Right. This is my real expectations. these are my fanciful dreams,
Right.
and I only want him to meet my